Okay, we'll bring the Budget and Finance Committee to order. First resolution on the agenda is RS 2015-20. Pridemore, the sponsor, approves an amendment to a grant by increasing the amount of the grant by $2,600,079 for a total of $66,422,408 from the state emergency management agencies to the Department of Finance to provide public assistance for repairs and or replacement to facilities damaged during April and May of the 2010 flood. Do I have a motion? Motion duly seconded. Discussion, Councilman Glover. Hold on. I've slept since I used this last.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, all right, with regards to this, I realize the amount of money is somewhat significant. Can you tell me where are we with regards to what the government or the federal government had proposed to give us versus where we may actually be at this point? Do you know, is that a fair question?
I'm not aware, and it's because there's always been a changing number.
Okay.
And a lot of it has depended upon funds that become available that were committed to other communities that turned back, that we could then apply for more. So it's a changing number and probably will be changing from now on.
Okay. Well, given the fact this is a rather large number, what exactly does this do? Given that the flood was 5-6 years ago, what is this actually helping to cover, remedy, or is it now paying the local government back for outstanding contributions or outlays we had?
Most of these funds that we were receiving at this time is reimbursing costs that's already been incurred.
Okay.
That we didn't have funds to pay for.
Maybe I should have asked you that question, Ms. Lomax. Did I miss it?
Is it live? Okay. Yes, we are in the process now, still in the recovery process.
Okay.
And this is $2.6 million amendment to the original grant, and we've got at least $20 million probably outstanding still due from FEMA and TAMA.
And will we ultimately be able to see that money, or I mean, what's the thought process?
Yes, I mean, as soon as the grant amendments come through, for instance, this $2.6 million, then we will be able to submit a reimbursement request to the state for their share of this grant.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no others in the queue, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-21, Pridemore is the sponsor, approves a grant of $74,800 from the State Administrative Office of the courts to Metro Government for interpreter services for defendants with limited English proficiency. Do I have a motion? Duly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-22, Pridemore and Pardue sponsors, approves a grant of $2,500 from ExxonMobil Refining and Supply to the Metro Nashville Fire Department for personnel training and equipment procurement. Do I have a motion? Duly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-23, Pridemore and Pardue as sponsors, approves a grant of $399,989 from the State Department of Transportation to the Metropolitan Police Department for the continuance of the Enhanced DUI Enforcement Initiative to reduce traffic-related crash fatalities by focusing on alcohol or drug-impaired drivers on weekends and major holidays. Do I have a motion? Duly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-24, Pridemore and Pardue is the sponsor, approves a grant of $58,000 from the State Department of Transportation to the state trial courts to provide a program to reduce DUI repeat offender behavior and reduce the backlog of pending cases. Do I have a motion? Duly seconded. Seeing that we have a queue, someone in the queue, Vice Chair Weiner.
Thank you, Chair. I just have one quick question, not sure who to direct it to if we have somebody here. What aspect of the backlog is causing the greatest issue? What specific piece of it do we need to fix?
Is there someone from the state courts that...
Hi, my name is Janet. This grant is actually going to the drug court program, and it is to basically help as far as the backlog is concerned. That is Department of Transportation backlog, not necessarily drug court backlog.
If it's drug court, why are we listing it as DUI? Mr. Jones or Mr. Cooper?
It is directed by the state to send it to them. They can apply and get a lot more funds through the drug court, which they can then, in turn, transfer to someone else. But it's usually, of course, they treat alcoholics especially are considered as drug offenders too.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you.
And also it says in the analysis that it's to pay an employee's salary.
That's correct.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-25, Pride Moore Murphy is a sponsor, approves $4,030 of the Metro Employees Benefit Board's waiver of repayment of a disability pension benefit overpayments for Victoria Winlowski. Do I have a motion? Duly seconded. We have discussion in the queue. Councilor Weiner, are you from the previous one? Okay. Councilman Pulley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there somebody from the Benefits Board here that could speak to this issue?
I don't see one.
I think the issue is we are, for the last several years, Metro's been doing a thorough audit of all the pension programs, and they're audited quite regularly. When we discover an error, the Benefit Board takes steps to correct it. In overpayments, if the amount that may have been overpaid through no fault of the employee or the former employee, then they can be returned. They're not required to repay it if the Benefit Board feels that it would cause a hardship on them. The overpayments could have occurred over several years or small amounts, but for them to come up with that kind of money would be significant. Therefore, they can recommend to the council that be forgiven, but it takes the council to forgive it. If it's an underpayment, it's automatically collected. We don't, if they did not contribute or anything that we may be owed, that unless it's like this, we'll accept it. Or I mean, if we've underpaid them, we'll make it whole. It's a program that's really worked well through the years because for many years, especially early on in this, we discovered a lot of mistakes, none of which were the fault of employees and the pensioners themselves. And so we've got the program pretty much straightened out, but occasionally we'll still get one where it slips up under some mathematical mistake that was made 15 years ago.
So this comes over a period of time where they've increased the amount of money that they normally get per month?
No, generally it's the original amount was overstated, but it might have been, 15 years or, every month they're getting $8 too much.
Do you have any data on how often this occurs? It's very rare these days. But when it does occur like these, they get caught and through the audits, it's such an extended period of time, it can amount to a whole lot of money, But we're pretty much, the recent experience has been excellent. It's some of the older ones we're still finding, but there's some little mistakes made, and that little amount grows through the years. Rare. And the only other question I have is what standard do you use for determining the hardship?
Generally, it depends upon who the recipient is. If this is pretty much their sole source of income and the amount is so much larger, for instance, this total amount would more than likely be more than 2 or 3 months pension, or maybe more than that. that they wouldn't get any pension money if they had to pay us back.
Thank you.
Councilman Mendez.
Thanks. Another question for Mr. Jones. I just wanted to confirm that the process is that the Benefit Board has the power under the Metropolitan Code to waive the overpayments, and then the council has the discretion to approve or not approve the waiver?
Yes. Well, they could recommend us on if we made an overpayment for us to excuse it. If it's been an underpayment, they automatically are required to pay it, and they have to pay it. And this program has been adopted and approved by the council years ago. You know, if we owe the employee, we won't expect them to pay exactly what they're owed. If the employee was overpaid in their pension system, to excuse the payment, they've got to come and get permission from the council.
Thank you.
Councilman Glover.
Well, I'm going to sound like an idiot. If it took place over a period of time,
Sorry.
$10 or whatever. We there? Okay. If it took a period of time at $8 or $10 or whatever, why could we not recoup the money in the same aspect as we overpaid it?
Theoretically,
where you don't sit down and ask them for all of the money back in 1, 2, or 3 payments.
That would be possible. It would be in the judgment of our beneficiaries and our actuaries a pretty bad business practice, though, because we're going to start factoring in some liability or asset we got coming in on a small amount for an extended period of time, and what's the actuarial ability to collect it, since how much longer is this particular employee going to live? And that's and most all of these are.
It's a small amount. I get that piece of it, but we're talking through TIF, and we're talking through various other issues where we're talking millions of dollars that should be coming into the general fund. And so I'm trying to figure out where exactly do we draw the line on what's right and what's wrong, and how do we do it. And so that's why I'm asking the question. I mean, if in fact it took place over a period of years, if we took it back, and frankly, to the councilman's point, how do we define the hardship? And so, if in fact, if we said we're going to take $8 back per pay period or per whatever period, of time, then how are we determining what's right and what's wrong there?
The decision is left solely to the council to make that judgment.
Okay.
The benefit boards are recommending that they not be required to pay it back, but it's up to the council whether they want them required or not.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Seeing no others in the queue, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-26, Pridemore Murphy, the sponsor, approves an amendment of $22,125 to a grant from the State Department of Labor Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center to provide activities that increase the employment, retention, and earnings of the participants. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Duly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-27, Pridemore and Gilmore, the sponsors, approves an amendment to a contract for services between the Metro Board of Health and United Neighborhood Health Services Incorporated to provide homeless individuals with medical services at 2 or more clinics in or near downtown Nashville. Do I have a motion? Mr. Cooper, there is some, it was duly seconded. Mr. Cooper?
I had a quick question, if someone is here from the Metro Board of Health, if they would comment about the amount. I guess this looks like a 1-year extension of the contract, the amount, the performance, and the quantity and quality of services being offered.
Mr. Sharp, unfortunately, was not able to attend. He did send the communications, being that if there's any questions, he'd be glad to answer them at a later date, but I don't know if someone else, but this is basically, in reading the analysis, it's really just an extension of the existing contract that's been going on, I think, since, let me see here, 27. From June of 2015 to the total contract price amount. Yes, it's. I'll give you the information unless someone else wants.
It was $355,000 for this year, for fiscal year 2015.
And the performance of the contract has been monitored by the Metro Board of Health.
Yes.
Found adequate or marginal, or just. I'll try to get some comment from Mr. Sharp.
Mr. Sharp, be glad to help you out. This has been an ongoing contract between I think it was United Neighborhood Health originally, and they've changed their name, but it's still, this has been ongoing for quite some time from what I understand. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-28, Pridemore and Gilmore sponsors, approves a grant of $10,000 from the Dorothy Kate Friss Foundation Advised Fund of the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee to the Metro Social Services Commission to benefit the homelessness program. Do I have a motion? Duly seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-30, Syracuse and Pridemore sponsors, approves a Two Rivers Mansion Master Plan grant of $30,000 from the Tennessee Historical Commission to the Metro Historical Commission, Metro Parks and Recreation Department, and the Friends of Two Rivers Mansion to hire a consultant to complete a master plan for Two Rivers Mansion and grounds. Do I have a motion? Duly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-31, Councilman Henderson, Pridemore sponsors, approves a grant of $100,000 from the Friends of Warner Park to the Metro Board of Parks and Recreation for the construction of a horse barn on the campus of the Percy Warner Park Equestrian Center. Do I have a motion? And duly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2015-32, Councilman O'Connell and Pridemore, the sponsors, authorizes Director of Public Property to purchase 5 parcels of property located at Athens Drive in the amount of $2,500,000 for use as part of the park system. Do I have a motion? Duly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
This one needed to be deferred. It hasn't been considered by.
Oh, yeah, it needs to be deferred.
It does?
Yes. The park board has not seen it yet, so it needs to be deferred until they take action.
We have a motion. We have a motion for one meeting deferral. And duly seconded. All in favor of the motion for deferral? Opposed? Motion passes for one meeting deferral. RS 2015-33, Pridemore sponsor, authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claim of Donna Seltzer as next of kin for Roger Seltzer, who deceased, against Metro government in the amount of $15,000 to be paid out of the self-insured liability fund. Do I have a motion? Duly second. Is there any discussion? Councilman Pulley.
Thank you. Forgive me for lacking the institutional knowledge of this, but if somebody from legal can get me up to speed, is this I see there's a cost of $5,000 to $10,000 to try this eventually. Is this considered a nuisance value settlement, or do you believe that there's some kind of liability exposure we have here?
Well, it would be a jury trial, and given the sympathetic nature of the plaintiff, it is likely that the court or the jury would find some liability for Metro. But yes, it would cost $5,000 to $10,000 just because we would have to hire an interpreter for the deaf for the entire duration of all the court proceedings. That plus hiring a tree expert to testify as to whether the tree was damaged or not. Liability is questionable, certainly, but we believe that it's in Metro's best interest to go ahead and settle it for $15,000.
And this best interest is based on the fact that we have some exposure?
Yes, and that the court could find, I mean, this was a young man, had a job. I think the plaintiff's expert determined that the value of his life was over $1 million. So even if we were assessed 5% of the fault, that's still $50,000 for a very small percentage of fault.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no others in the queue, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Bills on second reading is BL 2015-4. Pridemore and Pardue are sponsors. Approves an agreement between the Metro Office of Family Safety and the Legal Aid Society of Middle Tennessee and the Cumberlands in the amount of $225,000 to improve the criminal justice system by the Stop Violence Against Women Grants Program. Do I have a motion? Duly seconded. We have Councilman Pulley. You're up, Council Lady Berkeley.
Thank you. Just for my education, why is this not a resolution? I mean, it seems like it's in the same vein as grants and things like that. Why is it an ordinance as opposed to a resolution?
I mean, it's really a contract.
It's really a contract nature because there's some pass-through here, and contracts require ordinances unless they've been previously approved. For instance, many of them will be, and they'll provide it if there's an amendment, it can be approved by a resolution if the contract was originally approved by an ordinance.
All in favor of approval? Opposed? Motion passes. Seeing no other business on hand, this concludes the Budget and Finance Committee meeting.